And welcome back to the Unreality Show, where we talk about all the dysfunction that goes on today in reality shows with the intention to learn from it. Obviously, from a positive perspective, there's so much dysfunction and dysfunctional reality stars that bring all that into the reality show and have it be dramatic.
Speaking of dysfunction, I just have to drag us back to Hawaii.
Let's do it. Let's go to Hawaii.
When I said 75%, we were all on the same page, intentioned with celebrating my 65th birthday. The 25% that we kind of fell apart, both my daughters were there. So my one daughter with her husband and her kids, my other daughter came by herself without her partner and without the kids. That created some tension between those siblings, my two daughters, because my oldest daughter was, well, let's go here. Well, I want to go there. Well, why don't you want to go? And my other daughter was, it's so beautiful here. I'm not going anywhere today. I'm going to lie by the pool. I'm going to have myself a glass of wine, and I'm going to just sit here.
That sounds like Kim Kardashian.
Hello. And
on the Costa Rica trip.
And my other daughter was, judging that, oh my gosh, why wouldn't you want to go explore? Why don't you want to do this? And as a parent, I felt really caught in the middle.
Why?
I'll
tell you why. You ready?
Please, yeah. Bring it on.
Because you're a fixer.
On top of being a controller, I'm a fixer. I am like doomed.
You got the double whammy.
I got a double whammy.
You're trying to fix everything and fix everybody and make nicey with everyone, and you can't. You have no control over other people's disagreements or their dysfunctions, and you can't do that. And so, because you can't, it only leaves one option: to free you up to figure out how to inspire and empower them to think a different way. But you're trying to control it. You're trying to get in there and muscle it to have them get along. And you won't be able to do that, not now, not tomorrow, not ever. You can't make people be and show up in a certain particular time the way that you want it to look.
I can only be and show up.
That's right. So one, you can model it. You can model it by being flexible. Two, you can empower and inspire one of them to see it a different way. So maybe you go up to the other one that's real rigid and fixated on having it look a certain way, and pull her aside and go, hey, lighten up a little bit. Your little sister wants to just chill. Haven't you ever wanted to just, hang out and enjoy the moment? Or, you want to do it in a subtle, neutral way where you're planting little seeds for her to think about, not...
Well, what's so interesting is that child is actually a therapist.
Yeah, well, that doesn't mean nothing. We got. I know, a lot of experts that have major dysfunctions. They learn, they go to school and they learn all these different ways to counsel people, and they don't practice it themselves. So practicing what healthy ways of living and actually, talking about it or helping other people doesn't mean anything. So, she just you can actually be her therapist. There are some things that I think that are probably missing in her bucket that you can help fulfill if you learn how to recognize what she's needing. So in that moment, she's probably needing something. What do you think it is?
I think in that moment...
What is she wanting? What is that daughter wanting from her sister in that moment?
She wants her sister to come with her and have an experience with her.
Awesome. So as her mother... You get to pull her aside and go, hey, you know what? Maybe if you sat down with her and revealed yourself, if you spoke to her in an emotionally honest way and became vulnerable and said, hey, sis, I would love to take this opportunity for us to bond and connect. Are you willing to, come and hang out with me? Just maybe she has a higher percentage of getting her younger sister to go, oh, okay, since you say it like that, yeah, let's go. Let me grab my stuff. So there's some stuff that's getting in the way of her being able to enroll her sister to see what she's really asking for.
That, over the years, because they are so diametrically opposite personality-wise, which is wonderful, and I embrace that. I love that. the communication between them. It's getting better as they get older, but I don't think they have had an opportunity to spend any amount of time truly being vulnerable with one another.
Yeah, vulnerability is magic. So I'll give you a hypothetical scenario. I'm on vacation with my family, and I got my siblings there, and they have their husbands and wives or whatever, and I realize, that they all have their own agendas, but for dinner, I want us all to spend this quiet dinner, right? Because for whatever reason. So before we even head out in the day, as soon as we land at that location, I ask for a family meeting. And we all get together. And if I got my siblings in a room and I allowed myself to be vulnerable and explain to them how much it would mean for them to sacrifice one day or a few hours or one night to have dinner with me and my family, and that I really want that, I guarantee you I can get them to see the value by me being vulnerable of how much it means to me. Because no matter what, people are still compassionate.
Yes.
When you're vulnerable, all of a sudden there's a whole magical moment that happens where you just go, you know what? You know what, Tom? I know I would promise that we were going to take the kids on that roller coaster, but my brother, he just revealed himself and he opened his heart, and it means that much to him. Guess what? We're having dinner with him and his family. Does that make sense to you?
It makes.
Yeah,
it makes
but we don't give
total
ourselves
sense.
to be vulnerable. We don't give ourselves permission to be vulnerable like that and share
or even the
emotionally
opportunity.
honest.
We don't give ourselves the opportunity to be vulnerable.
Well, and the older sister was without her family, so she wants to go off and explore and have experiences where she doesn't have to worry about, twins or little kids, and, are they going to make it on a boat trip or whatever that looks.
That's true.
And
that's
the other,
true.
yeah.
And maybe it looks like you pull the other daughter aside and go, hey, let me chat at you for a minute. You pull her aside and go, it looks like your sister really came with the intention this trip to spend quality time with you. And I don't know if you can see that or not, but as the mother and being a third party, I can see that that's what she's really saying when she's giving you a hard time. So maybe are you willing to consider, wow, Mom, I never saw it like that. That's good insight. Yeah, maybe I will change my mind and do that. Like there's so many tools in your belt that you can actually cause a powerful breakthrough.
I think what's so interesting to me at this point is how do I get over the bridge so that I actually in the moment, because I understand, I get it, but in the moment, how do I bring that stuff up? How does that become how I respond and how I act about stuff?
All
Is
right.
it just practicing?
Yeah, well, for one, there's steps. One is the conscious awareness. So just us talking about it right now is step one. Just you hearing me say, giving you two different possibilities that you couldn't think of, you just go, I never considered that before. So now just having that new awakening and new enlightened moment, now there's a new conscious level that when you go on that, you're going to be more mindful, more aware, more present in the moment, and you're looking for little things like that. That's number one. Number two is give yourself permission and have the courage to pull one of them aside and have the dialogue, even if you don't know what to say. Just pull one of them aside and go, choose one. Because
yes.
You see them both kind of starting to bicker. You grab one of them and go, hey, let me talk to you for a minute.
Have a conversation.
Yeah, I pull them aside, and then you be vulnerable, let your heart out, and out of vulnerability will be born the words that you get to speak to them. That one of them goes, you know what, Mom, thanks for sharing that perspective. I couldn't see that earlier.
Bringing it back to me, not looking to try and make them
that's right.
vulnerable.
That's right.
But bringing it back to me.
That's right.
And saying to myself before I even open my mouth is, how do you really feel? What's really, really going on? What is it that is hurting you right now? And as a controller and a fixer, I have to really practice that, because my immediate response is I'm going to go in and I'm going to look at the situation and I'm going to try and fix it. And then everybody's pissed.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you can't muscle those kind of situations.
And then they get angry at me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You're the bad one.
And then I go to the,
Here we go again.
Here we go again. I bring everybody here and now they're mad at me.
Right.
Why do I do this?
And you're not
Right.
even a middle child.
And then
I'm
6
not-
months
I'm the
later,
youngest.
you're paying for another vacation, and you're putting yourself right back in the same scenario to repeat the same process over again.
So let's make
Expecting a different outcome.
That's right, which is insanity,
Which
right?
is insanity. Yeah.
so let's make the next trip, the cruise, different. So when you stopped breathing there for a few seconds, what was that about?
I felt a little paralyzed with fear. I literally felt, how am I going to transform my brain? Because intellectually, I hear what both of you are saying, but from an emotional standpoint, how do I get there?
Let's talk about what your fears are.
My fear is that every people are either going to fight or not have a good time, and I've never gone on a vacation with just the kids and my daughter, so that's special to me.
And you already have the expectation and how you want it to look in your head right now.
Yes, I want it to be special for everybody.
Okay, and you can't. Not now, not tomorrow, not ever.
Yes, and I have.
So you have to surrender what's special to you. You're only responsible for your experience. You can't make other people like your party or think your party and your invitation and your vacation is special. You can't ever make anyone else like and appreciate something that you want them to.
And
it's out of your control.
And actually, you unburden yourself if you practice that. You lift a huge weight.
That's right. You surrender the illusion that you can actually make someone or want them and it bad enough that it actually happens. You can't. So you have to shift into a place of inviting people to come and have a good time.
Right. And then letting them decide themselves.
Yes. Or you being the role model or modeling the having the good time such that they go, all right, if you're having a good time, I'm going to come and have a good time.
If the old lady's having a good time, I'm going to join
That's right.
in.
So this reminds me of a trip we just did out to Laughlin with my family. It was my nephew's 21st birthday. And we were in a casino, and we were wrapping up for the night, and there was a band playing. And so me and my mom and my aunt and my wife and my nephew, we all get on the dance floor, and we're having a good time because it's 21st birthday. We're celebrating, we're dancing, right? They're playing all these old jams, and all of a sudden we look around, and there's these, uppity-ups, Richie Poos standing there like that. And they want, they're tapping their foot, but
they want so badly.
Their ego will not let them get on the dance floor and have a good time. My wife, she was like this little social butterfly, and she just walked over and grabbed a few of them, brought them on the dance floor, and I swear to God, they transformed. She walked up to the snottiest, snootiest looking couple and brought them to the dance floor, and they were like, first they were dragging like, no, and then they got there, and all of a sudden they were. And it was the most amazing experience to watch my wife drag these couples on. She got rejected a few times. They pulled really hard, but she probably pulled up.
Did she know these people?
No, these are strangers at the casino.
Part, right?
And they got on and they just let loose. And it was such an amazing experience just as a third party, an observer, to watch you give somebody permission. So my wife was just basically, she was an invitation. She was being the invitation to get somebody to, get out of their comfort zone and surrender their ego and forget about how they're supposed to look and leave all that stuff behind and let that little kid come out, let that inner child come out and have some fun and play. That's why you go to Laughlin. That's why you go to Vegas. That's why you go on vacation, is to let loose and to let that little kid come out and play. Why would you want to bring the CEO of your company into your vacation? That guy's not going to let you have a good time.
My husband refers to me as the bean counter.
Yeah. So that goes to show you that you get to, if you want your family to have a good time, you be it first. You get on the dance floor. You start being crazy. And before you know it, you kind of slowly start to give other people permission to go, well, if my mom's going to be crazy out there, then I'm not going to let her be the only one. And then you get the second one and then the third one. And you get to invite people to step up to the game that you're playing and experience the joy that you're having.
So I've got a question. So you've got Carl and I on a path of when we do go on vacation is setting us up for what our intentions are for the vacation. Would you suggest that she meets with her daughter and grandkids to say, hey, this is, we've got our different little trips planned. but this is really what bugs me. Can she say that with the grandkids?
Yeah, you know what would
fighting?
inspire me? If I was in your family and I was, let's say, your son, and you called me in and my sisters are there, and you said, you know what, guys, I had a revelation. And I realized that in all of my 30 years of vacationing as an adult, I'm always trying to get my family to have a good time. And I just realized now in my wisdom that I can't control you guys, whether you guys fight or argue or whatever, having a good time. That's out of my control. So what I'm going to do now is I'm making a declaration that I'm going to go and have a good time. And I'm inviting you guys to surrender all your stuff and join me and be more of an invitation rather than trying to force or make somebody be or do something.
Or create this mold or cookie cutter that I want everybody
that's right.
to.
That's
and what happens, what does she say to the grandkids? And can she say something where I wish you guys would leave your disagreements at home?
It wouldn't be a wish, but it would be an invitation.
Okay.
Be an invitation. I
invite
invite you to, you know, if you have a son and daughter that are kind of bickering and they're going for you, I invite you, you know, kids, to put it aside. Just be big enough to put it aside for 2 days. And let's, you know, remember that you guys do love each other at the end of the day, and that you're there for me, and let's have a good time.
You know, it's really interesting as I hear all this and I take all this in. I came from a pretty traditional home. And as you're saying to me, you have a great time. You can do anything you want. It's all about the light that you shine. I literally remembered my mother and my father constantly telling me, you think of other people first. Do not be selfish.
And so
that literally popped, and they've been gone, but that pops into my mind when you're telling me you can have a great time if they want to come along. But that pops into my mind.
This is a great example about how beliefs for years can keep us in a box and keep us rigid and keep us from experiencing joy, because the joy, the way we have it wrapped up in my belief, is it has to be with everybody. Like if there's a whole party of 100 people and one person's not having a good time, then I'm not having a good time.
Right, because somehow it's my fault.
Yeah, because Dad said that everyone's got to have a good time, or you can't be the only one. We have these limiting beliefs that get in the way, and we wonder why we're not experiencing life to its fullest.
In today's world and environment, what does the word selfish really mean anymore?
I love the word selfish, because the word selfish means that it basically is a declaration that I'm responsible for me, so I get to make sure that I bring my own happiness first.
So you turned it from a negative four-letter word into a positive
Actually,
word.
in spirituality, it is a positive thing. In spirituality, they tell you should be selfish. You should fill up your own bucket first, and then when your bucket's full, then you give that in abundance to others. You give from overflow. If you really want to love someone in your life, love yourself unconditionally so that your overflow spills onto them. Because when you're loving from an empty bucket, now you guys are needy of each other's love. And now I'm in this needy relationship, always needing your love. So my love is dependent on you.
So Jerry, have you struggled
And hold on,
with
I'm going to finish with this. We're going to get to that. But I want to say this to you. So that leads me to believe that your joy is dependent on other people having joy and having fun. Yes. You can't independently decide I'm responsible for my own joy and my own fun, and I'm going to go figure it out.
Alex Urbanian is going to make me cry on radio. Yes.
And the fact that you said
the
that,
answer is yes.
Yeah, I know. And the fact that you said that, you took yourself. That was a coping mechanism, so you don't feel whatever you're feeling right now.
It hurts.
What hurts?
I don't. It hurts that I've spent so much time acting in a certain way that didn't have to be. Kind of like, wow, could have done it a whole different way and gotten here a whole lot faster years ago. But better late than never, right?
But you couldn't have.
No.
You couldn't have figured it out, because in our journey, we always discover the aha moment when we're supposed to have the aha moment. So
I'm having an aha moment.
Awesome, and I'm excited for you. And so now that you feel hurt, it's okay to feel the hurt. So let's feel the hurt, and then let's transcend it into being happy and excited that you got to have this conversation and have this aha moment.
Well, I'm excited. I mean, every time I have an aha moment with you guys, I go home with a really big smile on my face. Like, wow, This is good. It opens my heart, and it makes me realize there's so much to learn. So much to learn, because in life, if you don't do this kind of work, you get very complacent, and you
settle.
Day after day, you do the same thing. And in your head, you rationalize it, but in your heart, you're sad. And you can't get those two things together unless you have these aha moments.
Very well said. We're going to go on a break. Stay tuned for more of The Unreality Show right here on KHTS Radio. And welcome back to The Unreality Show. We're talking about all the dysfunction going on in reality shows today with the intention to learn from it. How do we grow and learn from some of the reality shows? We started the show talking about some of our concerns. I know for me, my concern is that these reality shows that are being watched by viewers that don't have the capacity or a healthy frame of mind or the healthy context can really be influenced to continue to validate that their dysfunction is okay and it's acceptable in today's world.
Or to actually aspire to be these people.
Yeah,
that's the part that really concerns
especially
me for our young people.
Especially the young kids that are watching that. It's and I don't think that the reality stars or personalities are actually even considering that. Like I think that some of them, when they do evolve to a higher level, they look back and go, "Wow, I don't know if I really did, the world a disservice, or if I did a service for them."
Well, I'm not sure they care.
I don't think they care either. Yeah, it's just right now it's an opportunity for them to be famous, to stay famous, and to make a good living at it, a great living at it.
If kids actually do watch these shows, and they do,
they absolutely are.
They absolutely do.
Yeah,
it'd be so great if parents or extended family or whatever took an opportunity and actually watched some of this with them, so that you can actually have a conversation with young people, because they are fascinating. My grandson and I watched 13 Reasons, the whole thing on Netflix. I'm not sure if you're familiar. Are you familiar with it?
No.
Okay, well,
I'm sure we will be, though.
You will be. It was the Netflix. There are 13 episodes about teenage suicide, and I watched it with him, and my 14-year-old also watched it. We had some amazing conversations. But
I think that's the purpose. That's the healthy context of some of this stuff, is to open up dialogue at the back end. I remember growing up with shows like The Cosby Show or Full House, or these shows that took controversial situations that happened with teens, or being bullied or suicide, and it sparked conversation with you and your family in the living room. I don't think we're doing that. We're not keeping that legacy going as parents to open up healthy dialogue with our kids, and utilizing these shows to use it as leverage or an opening to start that conversation.
It's so important, because we are not teenagers in today's world. We have no clue what they feel like, what they experience, what goes on in the life of a teenager in today's society. And just from watching that and having a couple of conversations, it was wow, really? Wow. I mean, it's amazing.
I can choose some other empowering perspectives to look at when we see some of these reality shows. One perspective for a kid is, if they're watching it, they can also identify with, wow, I'm not the only one that has a dysfunctional home. Or, wow, I can see myself as Khloe Kardashian. I can see that I'm stubborn like her. Or I can see myself as, arrogant as Kim is, or as what. And so that
that was a little bit of a judgment call, wasn't it?
Well, I'm a coach. My job is to kind of look and spot some of the dysfunctions, and I'm happy.
So you see her as arrogant?
Oh yeah, there's a lot. I mean, but I'm not saying it from a mean place. I'm just saying it from, that's a category that I can notice as a dysfunction that she's got. She's got a lot of things to work on. But what I'm trying to say is that as kids, if they're watching it, they can also identify themselves and go, wow, that's me. or wow, do I show up like that? So it can also be a self-reflection is if they can see themselves in a certain character as well.
Oh, I definitely saw myself in Chloe as
Oh,
a
absolutely.
young adult, that middle child, and getting butthurt that something did not turn out the way I expected, whether it was a family dinner or, I mean, before I met Alex, we would have Christmas dinners where I had an expectation with nieces and nephews and what it would look like, and didn't know what to do when everyone said, no, we don't want to go out to dinner, or no, we don't want to do this right
And I
now.
kind of relate to Chris trying to keep the peace in
Yeah,
her family, trying to keep all the girls
But
loving
you can
each other.
you can see on her face the heavy burden she
Yes.
wears to
Yes.
try to keep that peace, and she can try to control that all she wants, and it's not as effective as being willing to open up dialogue and plant. And I see her do some of that too, but you can tell that she really is committed out of her mind to keep that family together and keep them tight. But there's a way to do it in a healthy and empowering way rather than trying to control or muscle them to like each other. And I want to thank you for sharing when you get butthurt like that.
I don't anymore. So what I create are amazing holidays, and especially
that you enjoy.
that I enjoy. And if it changes 10 million times during that 2-day period, it is what it is.
That's the trick.
And this is the controller that suffered for so many years, because my mom, when she was alive, kept the family going. And now my sister...
parents did too.
Yeah, my sister's the one that reaches out, but she also controls it. So now I just go and enjoy at my own house, which is big for me.
Yeah, and the trick is when you're having an event, you have to create the safe space for everybody to choose to be who they are or be who they decide to be in every moment. Uncle Jack, you have permission to come here and sit here and be a lump and watch TV and not and exclude yourself. You have permission to be that in my home, and I'm not going to try to force you to include yourself.
I can have everybody over on Memorial Weekend and allow Ron to sit in his chair and watch whatever
TV.
sporting event is on for 12 hours and not constantly go over to him and say, you need to be more social.
Yeah, you got to stop saying you need to be a certain way, and first accept him that's how he is, and then shift into inspiring him and inviting him to be included. It's the come from that I'm trying to get you to change so that you're not so rigid and tense and stressed out all the time.
But if you put some music on and start dancing, he'd come out.
He would.
Yeah, there you go. We want to thank you for listening to the Unreality Show. We're going to be here every Friday at 1 o'clock. We appreciate you taking the time. This is Alex Urbina signing off, KHTS Radio.